You would have seen a lot of technological changes and advances. Can you talk to me a little bit about those changes that you've seen across the industry?
GPS is a big thing. In the area I work in fisheries acoustics, so using echo sounders to count fish, and the technology there is increased. I mean, my boat, my little four metre dinghy, I've got a $300 fish finder, and the amount of technology that's built into that, it's got a chart plotter so I can mark on a spot and I can go back and look at the picture on the echo sounder, and it's got dual frequencies and it's got chirp and it's got all these things, and I can pick out the individual fish on it. So what we're using for science is even better than that.
When I started in fisheries, reporting catch was still done on a piece of paper, and you had 5 lines. Just write the top 5 species and make sure you hand it in within a week. Bloody hell. It was 2019 where electronic reporting was introduced. And initially a lot of the old guys on the water anyway, they're like, what? An iPad? And it's like, that's going to be tricky. But it works and people can do it, and so now suddenly we've got this electronic reporting system which not only says every single fish that you bring on board and every single fish that you put back in the water, you got to write down exactly how much that is. It's also connected to a GPS point, exactly where that fish is taken. We've got this data now that is so speedy to inform what's happening out there, which is just incredible. It's like an amazing improvement in the data that we're able to collect from fisheries. But the other side of that is now that we've gotten the electronic monitoring, we have certainty around that data. Because it's one thing to have an abundance of data, so you've got the quantity, and we've got it rapidly. But then the other thing is about the quality of that data and how sure you can be on it. And so with the electronic monitoring on board, now we can be very sure of that data, which means we can change the way that we manage fisheries.
And now we're actually finding we can use the data for really good things. And I know quite a few fishers who are really supportive now, saying, well, look, it gives the transparency. The regulator now knows I'm not doing anything wrong, so they can tell the public that I'm not doing anything wrong. And that leap is kind of still coming. But I think there's been a lot of benefits to it.
Of course, there's more work to be doing. And as society kind of shifts, we also see the expectations shift too. Things that weren't important 40 years ago are increasingly important these days. Carbon footprints, your social auditing, things including seabird bycatch and other endangered species interactions. Yes, the industry has to maintain pace with best practice, but New Zealand has a really strong foundation and a really strong track record of success that gives me confidence that in another 40 years' time, New Zealand will continue to pivot, maintain pace with best practice, and use tools like the MSC to help demonstrate that.
Future gazing, AI is what everyone is talking about at the moment. Are you starting to see that impact in your day-to-day?
Bony fish have things called otoliths, which are like ear stones that are in their head, and they lay down a new ring every year like a tree does. So we use those as part of our fisheries monitoring to work out how old the fish are, because a healthy population has a wide range of ages. And so those ear stones or otoliths, we collect them from fish and surveys. We also sample them from fish that are being landed by the commercial fishers, and then we either read them whole if we can see through them, or we section them and then we put them under a microscope and we count the rings. And we've got a project that's trying to use AI to do the counting, to work out how old those fish are, and that we hope is going to be better than a reader, because it doesn't have that human element. Readers change over time and things, but if you can train a computer to do it, you should always get the same answer. So that's one direct application that we're trying to do. And we're not the only ones. A lot of people around the world are trying to do this. It should be solvable. It's no harder than facial recognition, but the billions have been put into facial recognition, and aging fish is not quite the same market.
But if you cast an eye to the future, where are the areas where it can continue to change and continue to improve?
It's really timely, because at the moment we're going through this reform process, and the minister's said that these reforms are the biggest changes since the QMS came in. So it's kind of timely in 40 years that we're making some changes. Whether you agree with that or not, probably doesn't matter, but there are some principles sort of underpinning those changes. And again, the need for the system to kind of adapt and grow.
There's a big change in culture and technology now. Just we're all realising that, the way we used to do stuff is not really the way we need to be doing it in this day and age. It has changed big time.
The Amendment Act is coming out now, the biggest change that we've seen in decades. What are you seeing from that perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really positive thing. I mean, this is a shared resource, and those proposals in the Fisheries Amendment Bill are positive for everyone, for every user of the moana. Now, in terms of the fact that we need to modernise, absolutely. And it's a kind of a reset in a way, because the Fisheries Act came in 1996, and in the last 3 decades, things have changed. We have electronic reporting. So that's real-time reporting about what we're catching, where we're catching it, how we're catching it. Really important. That is available immediately to our regulator. We also have cameras, so high levels of transparency, so we can see what is happening on board our vessels. We have access to new technologies. And so we want to be able to use that data, that information, and the transparency that cameras provide to make decisions around fisheries management faster and better. And that's got to be good for our resources.